back to For Real. Isn't it hard to believe that today is the 1st of December? Today is the anniversary of us leaving Australia, and it's strange to think about everything that's happened since we left. Who knew there was going to be a pandemic? Anyway, thank you for supporting us by watching our videos. All of the revenue from this channel goes to charities here in Cambodia, and in the description of this and every video you can see how much we've given and who we've given it to. Don't forget, you're more than welcome to join us over on Instagram as well if you'd like. Today's accompanying ride is a continuation of the ride towards the Silk Island Ferry. It's time to get started with this week's news. Today is Wednesday, the 1st of December 2021. The world is in a panic about the Big O, and I don't mean the 1999 Japanese anime action fiction series, or the donut shop in Salt Lake City that serves vegan donuts in a variety of gourmet flavours, plus tea and coffee in cosy vintage surroundings. We're talking about the new variant, of course, Omicron. If you live in Africa or have been to Africa in the last 3 weeks, the following news may be harder to swallow than a stale vegan donut. Cambodia has issued a decision banning travellers from 10 countries in Africa or who have a history of travelling to those 10 countries in the last 3 weeks. The 10 countries in question are Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Angola and Zambia. The ban will remain in place until further notice. The Ministry of Health announced the ban 2 days ago. The press release states that the move comes as a result of the discovery of the Omicron variant. It adds that, given the situation, the Ministry of Health of Cambodia has decided to ban travellers or those who have passed through the 10 countries in Africa or have a history of travelling to those 10 countries during the 3 weeks prior to entering Cambodia. Cambodia's ban follows similar moves by other Asian countries including Thailand, Singapore, Japan, Sri Lanka and Indonesia, who have all passed travel bans in reaction to fears over the possible transmission of the new mutation. On the 15th of November, Cambodia announced the reopening of the country for fully vaccinated tourists without the need for quarantine. And since then, more than 18,000 foreigners have landed in Cambodia, including tourists, investors and other travellers. During the COVID-19 pandemic, an average of only 300 people entered Cambodia each day, so that has now jumped to over 1,250 a day. It's still well under the numbers seen in pre-COVID times, but this is a good sign of things to come. An update on the 3 questions people still have about Cambodia right now. Land borders are still closed, and visas on arrival are still suspended. Well, that's 2. What's the 3rd, you might ask? When will KTVs be open again, of course? That question has had a few different answers this week, as they were due to be opened on the 1st of December. Then, in the midst of the Omicron confusion, their opening was to be delayed for a further 7 days, but then that was overturned and they are now opening again tonight. Thailand is considering setting a limit of up to 400,000 migrant workers from Cambodia, Myanmar and Laos to work in Thailand legally. At the moment, Cambodia and Myanmar contribute the largest number of migrant workers to Thailand, both legal and illegal. A spokesman for the Centre of COVID-19 Situation Administration told Thai media that this move was essential to reduce the smuggling of illegal migrants via border provinces and prevent the spread of COVID-19. I know a lot of you watch Todd on his channel Now in Laos, so here is some good news going from Cambodia to Laos. Cambodia has donated $13 million, 500,000 doses of Sinovac and 2 refrigerated vaccine transport vehicles to Laos. $3 million is from the Royal Government of Cambodia and the other $10 million is from private companies here in Cambodia. In the meeting of the 2 leaders, both lauded the long-standing relations and cooperation between the 2 neighbouring countries and agreed to further boost their cooperation in the fields of trade, investment, education, culture and tourism. Unfortunately though, the kind of free border trade that's happening at the moment isn't necessarily the kind of trade Cambodia wants to see from Laos. Police in Stung Treng province seized 170 kilograms of meth and arrested 3 traffickers while they were trying to smuggle drugs into Cambodia by motorboat in Bore O Svay Senchai district. That's the area where the Mekong River crosses the border from Laos to Cambodia. Stung Treng's provincial police deputy chief said, while they were driving the motorboat and arrived at the Cambodian side of the border, they saw our provincial anti-drug police forces patrolling the area. They turned the boat back to the Laotian border and then drove very fast back towards the Lao side. After parking the boat, they fled to Laos under the cover of darkness. When police inspected the boat, they found and seized 10 sacks of drugs. The sacks contained 170 packages of methamphetamine, each weighing 1 kilogram. Police from the anti-drug department in Phnom Penh were at it again, cracking down on drug possession with the arrest of 2 foreign nationals and 1 Cambodian. The crackdown took place in 2 different locations. The first location was at the Bung Trebek market, which is quite close to the Russian market, and the second location was in the depot market area. Police confiscated around 24 kilos of drugs from the 3 men, including ecstasy, ketamine, and clefadrone, and other drug-related paraphernalia. Unfortunately, no crack was found in the crackdown, but they did give it a good crack. The table of shame photographed for this story was one of the most nicely presented tables we've ever seen. We'll leave a link to it in the story so you can enjoy it for yourself. In other hard-hitting news, police in Battambang are investigating an incident in which 2 groups of youths had engaged in hurling rocks at each other in Battambang City. The incident occurred near a gas station when 2 groups of gangs consisting of between 10 and 15 youths threw rocks and helmets at each other. You would think wearing the helmets would have been a smarter decision than throwing them. When the dust settled though, police said that no bystanders or motorists who passed by were injured during the incident. The man in this next story must have rocks in his head. Phnom Penh Municipal Court charged a 27-year-old motorcyclist with intentional violence, driving without heeding the authorities' order, and insulting police officers. The accused, a private company security guard, was pulled over by police officers when he was driving in the opposite direction to the traffic flow and collided with another motorcyclist, after which he then assaulted the other rider. The charges have a maximum jail time of 1 year and fines of up to 8 million Riel. In unrelated news, if you run a red light, that could see you get a fine from between 60,000 to 200,000 Riel depending on the day, or if you're lucky, 50,000 Riel in coffee money. From road rage to the new craze for people with expensive cars. In yet another spectacular car crash involving a luxury car in Phnom Penh, a Maybach brand car met its nemesis in the shape of a road divider. A Maybach S450, described by its manufacturer Mercedes-Benz as a symbol of ultimate luxury, maximum comfort and cutting-edge technology, with the license plate Cambodia YC6666, was observed to be travelling at high speed in an erratic fashion and eventually skidded into a reinforced road divider, causing extensive damage to the car. In the time-honoured tradition, the driver of the car fled the scene before police could question her. A rogue herd of wild elephants emerged from the forest in one of Mundulkiri's districts and damaged crops belonging to farmers in the area. I wonder how you tell a rogue herd of wild elephants from a normal herd of wild elephants. According to local residents, the herd was spotted entering the village from a neighbouring village. The herd has been roaming around in the neighbouring village for 3 to 4 days, trampling crops and scaring the local people with their behaviour. Witnesses stated that the herd was seen emerging from a wildlife sanctuary. Most recently, they were spotted at a rubber plantation. Superstitious residents of the village believe that the presence of the herd is an omen of good luck and the elephants will bring protection and prosperity. Well, now I've heard it all. With the weather turning chilly, at least 300 cyclo drivers have received winter sweaters and blankets from Prime Minister Hun Sen and his wife. The cyclo drivers were given the sweaters, blankets, scarves and cash as cold weather is expected soon. Mr Hun Sen has urged Phnom Penh and provincial governors to distribute winter sweaters to the vulnerable, especially the elderly. Well, on that chilly note, we've reached the end of this week's news update. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about what's been going on in the kingdom, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, give us a like and leave a comment. Links to the stories from this week's News Moto will be in the comments section, and in the description of this video you will find links to all of the other people that are making content in Cambodia and other people that we follow in general as well. So have a look at those and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!